becoming more proactive about managing their energy bills, consumers are more inclined than ever to seek value for money from providers. And as providers change their prices to meet demand, a price war can often ensue. Joining us now to discuss the concept of price wars in the energy market is Oliver Tatton, who's co-founder of OneBigSwitch.ie, and Charlie Weston, personal finance editor with the Irish Independent and the starter of several price wars, or at least one that we know of. Good morning to you both. Charlie, price wars. Do price wars by definition benefit the consumers?
They do, yeah. They're something that has to be started. We have to ignite them in this country because companies are reluctant to get one going because if they lose money on it, obviously they can't make high profits. But they do benefit consumers because what happens is companies start cutting prices to try and lure people in. We're seeing it in health insurance at the moment because there's big changes coming. We've seen it in energy companies before Christmas. We're seeing it again now because of One Big Switch getting in there with a campaign. Whenever there is pressure on companies, they will react. And it's not always government pressure. It's much better if it comes organically up from the ground from people, more than consumers.
On the surface, you would think it's a no-brainer. Customers get cheaper prices. Businesses get a higher volume of business. So even though their margin is lower, they're making more money. But as we've seen with, say, for example, supermarket price wars, what happens is that they slash the price of milk or bread or whatever, but everything else in the shop goes up. So they get you another way.
Yeah.
Is that not true in energy price wars as well?
Yes,
is there not some other way they get
catch? Of course there is, Mark. Yeah, what they typically do with energy is they lure you in with a nice juicy 1-year discount, and they don't tell you when that comes to an end. So you go from having a very good discount, maybe 19% cheaper on electricity. That ends after a year, and you're back to paying the standard rate. And for standard rate, read rip-off rate, really, because, it is kind of very, very profitable for companies to charge the standard rate. And most people are on standard rate.
Can get wiped out a year.
It can. So you have to keep at it. I mean, there is a phenomenon where people switch and switch only once.
Okay.
So you need to keep doing it. You need to repeat it or else they'll get you.
Mr. Tatton, let's bring you in here. Your One Big Switch campaigns have worked very well. You're here again now. This is the third one.
Yeah.
What are you up to in terms of subscriptions?
Well, we're heading towards 20,000. Okay. Our target was 25.
For those who are not familiar with what it is you're trying to do, explain as quickly as you can.
Okay, please. Well, what we do is we try and get people to join One Big Switch on OneBigSwitch.ie, and then we take all of those consumers and we bring them to the energy providers and we say, look, we have a whole bunch of people who have joined up and we want a better deal from you. So we basically shop around that group of consumers who want to switch, that group. So it's kind of like collective bargaining.
Okay.
So a consumer would sign up with us on OneBigSwitch.ie. There's no obligations, there's no fees, no nothing. And we just use the fact that you've joined us to go to the energy providers and try and get a better deal.
Okay,
it's as simple as that.
This was the very first one that you launched.
That was the first one.
So you're back to that again now this time.
We're back to that. Last year, there were 312,000 households switched their electricity. So if you're not one of those households, you probably are on one of those high prices that Charlie was talking about.
So this 25,000 that you've got signed up on in this particular effort, are they added to the first lot? And do you go back again with 60, 70, 80, 90,000 now?
Well, that depends. Some people took the offer the last time, so whoever wants to join this campaign, it's open for anybody to join. It's open for new people and for people who joined the last campaign or any of our previous campaigns can join again.
And what's to stop the energy suppliers? Sorry, I say, listen, Tatton, come on, you've had one, you've gouged us once. Yeah, now go away, and they all just say...
The energy suppliers want that group of customers. They will actually respond to that bargaining power.
What if they get together and say to you, no,
well, they're not. That's exactly what we do. And we negotiate on consumers' behalf. And we're all time poor, Mark. Nobody really has the time to shop around for all of the different things that we actually need to be buying. So that's actually what we do on your behalf. We will actually go to all of the energy providers. We shop around and they do entertain us. They all take the call because they want that group of consumers that may come to them.
Charlie, you're one of the big journalistic watchdogs on behalf of consumers. In terms of the first time that One Big Switch did this, what did you work it out as the average saving was?
There's probably a saving of about 6%, which is very good. And the good news is as well that there have been some cuts. The energy companies themselves in the last while, Mark, have introduced some cuts. About 5 of the main energy companies introduced cuts. Most of them took effect from the 1st of this month. They cuts between 2% and 4%. Now, really what we're doing, though, there was pressure on from the minister. The minister brought them in, Alex White. There was pressure on from the regulator. They threw us a bone, really. It was only a scrap. And they could do more. They could do more. They should really be dropping like a stone. Wholesale electricity prices are down about 14% on a year. year. If you look at wholesale gas prices for March, over the average compared with the previous Marches for the last 3 years, they're down about 18%. So there's scope there for much more to be passed on to consumers.
Just very quickly, Oliver, before we go, what do people need to do?
Just go to onebigswitch.ie, just give us your email address, and then you're in. Then we'll bargain on your behalf. We'll send you out an offer. If you wish, you take it. And if you don't want it, you don't have to take it. There's no obligations. And in fact, you can use it to try and get a better deal from your existing provider or from any other provider.
You can do it on your own.
You can do it on your own.
Okay, still a week left to go before people sign up.
Still a week left to go, then we're closing up.
All right, thank you both very much indeed.
Thank you.
Right, stay with us, plenty more to